Welcome back to the channel. I am Clark the Realtor, and we are going to dive into the truth of why houses are not selling in the Metro Atlanta market.
Welcome to my channel, Clark the Realtor. Don't forget to subscribe, and let's get started.
I wanted to explore the nitty-gritty of why houses are not selling in the Metro Atlanta market in 2025. In this video, we are going to dive beyond the surface level in which you are possibly seeing of why houses are having a hard time selling in the Metro Atlanta market. And if you are in need of assistance when it comes to buying or selling a property in the Metro Atlanta area, you can reach out to me. My phone number and email is below. And if you are currently working with a realtor in this particular market, make sure they do a deep dive before you put an offer in to purchase a property. Let's jump into it. All right, so there are numerous reasons why houses are sitting on the market in Atlanta and having a hard time selling. The first reason we're going to dive into is because of if you're buying a condo in the Metro Atlanta market, the HOA fees are actually going up and they're becoming very substantial for someone to purchase a condo unit in the Metro Atlanta market. Because even if you pay cash every month, if your condo monthly condo fee is $350 to $1,500 to $2,000 a month, you're basically paying another mortgage on top of your property taxes, your home insurance, because you still want to get home insurance for the space within inside that condo, and then also any other things, maintenance, any maintenance things you might have to upkeep. If there's a special assessment that occurs because you're in a building type of condo and they have to get anything replaced, you will then be allocated those particular funds inside you for your particular unit. And so because of that, we are seeing a lot of these condos in the Metro Atlanta market sitting. So if you are going to purchase a condo in this current market, you want to make sure you look at those HOA fees. In this particular condo unit right here, you can kind of see what it looks like as far as some of the pictures. We'll scroll through it real quick. You can see some of the pictures of this condo unit, a very nice looking refurbished condo. However, when you start to scroll down and then you look at those HOA fees, that $1,157 a month HOA fee is very daunting to someone who is trying to purchase a condo. And then not only that, you have this initiation fee of $2,313 a month. So these are other questions. And then again, if you have, if this particular unit might have a possible special assessment coming up, you are drowning underwater with so many fees and things that are adding up on your monthly expense when it comes to your mortgage. So with this being the case, a lot of condo units down in the Metro Atlanta are sitting for a while. As you can see, this one has been sitting for 135 days. They originally started at $869. And they are currently down to $849. So they kind of dropped a $20,000 fee reduction. However, most buyers in this market, $20,000 with $869 and all those monthly fees is ridiculous. So if you are looking at a condo in this Metro Atlanta market, just make sure you understand the HOA fee. Make sure to know if there's any special assessment that's been on top of the current HOA fee, get the financials in regards to the HOA and all those other things to make sure that you are buying a good investment with a condo. Okay, so the next reason why some of these properties are having a hard time selling in the Metro Atlanta market is because these people just purchased the property between 2020, 2021, 2023 to 2024, or even 2019, because of these people purchasing property within a few years prior. They're trying to now sell higher. In this situation, this is actually an LLC, a big corporate investor, institutional investor who purchased this property. As you can see, they closed for it. They probably must have outbidded somebody because it came on the market for $474,900 in 2022, and they closed at $505. All right, so now we're going to click on the property and see how they closed. If they closed in cash, but an investor did purchase this property, and now as you can see, it's only been on the market for about 90 days. However, the days on market are stacking up, of course, and they listed it at $469,900, and they're already at $404. So this in turn creates another difficulty for any other homeowners who might have bought within the last couple of years as well, who bought higher, because if you're trying to sell now in this market, you have these institutional investors around you selling lower than what you need to sell to get out, so you don't have to bring any money to the closing table. This can kind of have you trapped where you can't actually lower your home price in order to get out, and you're kind of stuck in place until property values appreciate a little bit more. So this is some of the stuff that your realtor should be doing on the back end. So we will jump over to when they purchased it in 2022. So let's see this real quick. Okay, so we just clicked into when they purchased this property in 2022. As we know, the price was $474,900. They bought for $505. They didn't get any closing costs when they closed, and they closed in cash. So this investor, this institutional investor, which is a big one, they closed in cash. They overdid the listing price by 106%. And so it probably was a bidding situation happening here. Okay, let's see. We're going to look at some of the pictures and see what it looked like prior to them closing in 2022 when they purchased this property. So we'll go real quick through the pictures. Nice looking area in regards to the property, the land. Looks like the house was well kept, well maintained. It possibly could have been, well, it was an owner who owned this before they bought it. As you can see, the owner's dog in the picture right here. And then the company came and they purchased this house from them, overbidding any other possible buyers. All right. So the house was purchased in 2022, and now we're going to switch to 2025, where they're trying to sell the house and see what the pictures look like from them currently trying to sell the house for under what they purchased it for. So now we are back to where they're currently at as far as 2025, trying to sell the house. And we're just going to do a quick overview of what the pictures look like inside the house. To me, it looks like they might have taken the pictures from the last time they bought the house. But so they might have kind of grabbed some of those last pictures since they're still available inside the MLS. One thing I can say, just from going and doing tours in institutional investor houses, and they have renters inside of them, not every renter will mess up your house. However, over time, depending on what type of person is in the unit, and it can even be a homeowner, if the house is not taken care of, whether you're renting or you purchase the house, it can kind of look a little, off-putting in regards to fixtures. So right here, I don't know if you guys noticed, it might be hard to see. There are some like dents and stuff inside the door here. As you go inside the house, it looks like there's some wood rotting around the trimming of the doors. So some of these pictures look like, of course, the investor, they took those pictures. It looks like the space is still okay. Again, we cannot see but so much with the eye in regards to pictures. So when you do walk in some of these investor property, investor-owned houses, sometimes you will see a lot of things you might not have seen in the pictures. As we keep scrolling through, we see that everything kind of looks like it's upkept. We don't see much damage to any of the cabinetry. The wood floors look like they're kind of nice looking. Doesn't look like there's many scuffs in it. As you can see, we have this vinyl planking. It might be planking, or it might just be a laminate in regards to this vinyl, but it's a different grade. It looks like this is downstairs in the basement. So as you can see, it still looks okay from the pictures. Again, this is an investor-owned property, which means that they doesn't look like they put much compared to what we saw in the pictures prior. Doesn't look like they put much work into the house, and now they're trying to sell the house. Again, they are down to $404,900. So they bought it for $505. So let's do the math real quick. So if they bought it for $505, $100,100. So they are down $100,100. So this already is putting, again, people who bought in the neighborhood in 2022, 2023, or 2024, or even currently 2025, if they just purchased before this house popped up on the market, they are going to be looking at a possible depreciation on the property if this investor has more other properties in that area and they start to bring down the price. So again, if you are looking to buy in this market, you want to make sure you do this deep dive, see when the house was purchased, see how the prices are moving, and see, of course, how long they sit on the market, and do that with those inspections as well. All right. Okay. So this is another reason why people are having a hard time selling in this market, even if they bought prior to 2020. So in this situation, this person bought in 2013, right? But what I'm noticing with some of these people who bought a long time ago or who have currently bought, they are starting to do a lot of refinances. And when they're refinancing, some of these people are refinancing, doing a refi cash out, and some people are actually getting possibly HELOCs or any other things and creating second mortgages on the back end of their primary. So now you have two mortgages attached to the home, and they want to make sure before they get out of the home, they can actually be able to sell, where they can close out both of those payoffs without having to bring any money to the closing table. So again, most of the homeowners, not really investors, as you guys can see with the last particular property we kind of went through, the investors are just dropping the prices. They are allowing the prices to go down, and they're okay with it. They bought cash. They feel like we're just trying to get out of it. And at this point, we'll sell it for a lower value. And what they're in turn doing, as we talked before, they're depreciating or it's kind of stripping equity out of other people's properties around them. In this situation, you have a person here where they were in a good standing position, but they kept on trying to refinance. And so we'll go to see how many times they refinance. So you have a refinance here in 2014, where they look like they pulled some cash out because it kind of went up. However, the terms went down. We have another refinance here. Terms were still at the 27 mortgage term. And then right here, they refinanced right here, 30-year term, and it went up to 290. So 292 in 2020 and 2015. Then they refinanced again, 302 in 2016, 30-year term. And then they refinanced again in 2020 for 328 for a 30-year term. And so they refinanced all the way up to 2020. However, it looks like they also possibly pulled money out when they refinanced as well. I could be wrong, but just from what the numbers look like, it looked like it could have possibly been a refi cash out. So in this situation, you have these home buyers who have been refinanced and possibly pulling money out their house, and now they have to put on the market at a certain price in order for, again, to satisfy these payoffs. And with this happening, it's making it harder for these sellers to get out of the house, where they're like, I don't want to leave this house and have to actually pay per se to get out of this house by paying at closing. And this particular situation, unfortunately, this person, if you can see, they actually became a REO, which is a bank-owned property up here, if you guys can see it. And the bank actually seized that property because this one was on the market and they could not get it sold because of the price point that they had. And in return, the property went into foreclosure and the bank took it back just recently. And now the property has foreclosed. So, but what I'm trying to say and explain in all is that most of these people were trying to sell and get out, but they needed to be able to get out at a certain price point, and they did not want to bring any money to the closing table because most times they don't have the money to bring to the closing table, especially if a person has been refinancing a lot. It's kind of showing me some type of distress in regards to why they're continuously refinancing. Okay, so that is another reason why most of these properties down in Atlanta are having a hard time when it comes to selling, and when it comes to the buyer going in and trying to offer a lower price. As far as what they're seeing the market doing, when the values are depreciating, they are noticing that this house is not worth what you have it on the market for, and they're trying to offer lower. But then the seller's like, I can't take lower because I have to satisfy this debt, and I don't have the funds to come out of pocket to be able to pay at closing in order to get out of this mortgage. Again, you see another person bought their property in 2021 right here. Their mortgage was $356,250, and in 2022 they look like they refinanced for about $50,000. So again, people are pulling money out of their houses. They're almost using them as piggy banks, but then they're trying to sell them now in 2025, and they need to satisfy the other debts, the first and the second mortgages, and they need a certain amount to be able to do that, where they don't want to bring money to the closing table. So we're seeing that again, and I'll show you another thing, another person doing it as well. Again, here is another person who is doing something similar, where they refied a couple times. So this person only did it about 2 times. However, as you can see, they bought it in 2019 for very low, and they did the mortgage is not that high per se as far as that loan that they took out, and they refinanced it to possibly get a lower interest rate. They also look like they might have pulled money out as well, about $52,000. So again, you have these people making these pullouts, these withdrawals of these houses, and these with these large kind of cash amounts per se, and they need to satisfy both of these loans, the first and the second, or even the first if they are doing a refi cash out and the loan is going up because they pull some money out or something like that. They need to satisfy these payoffs, and they don't want to bring any money to the closing table. So you have a lot of stubborn sellers where they're like, I'm not going to sell my property unless I get the minimum base of what I need to pay for my payoff, but then also their realtor fees, any other fees that come with it, possible closing costs. They're trying to add up all those type of things to see how are they either, one, make a little bit of money, possibly break even, but they want to kind of stay out of that negative and they don't want to bring money to the closing table. And also, again, you have here someone who purchased a property in 2020 for $190,000. And we're going to actually go and see what the property looked like prior when they purchased it and what it looks like currently, because this person, of course, did some renovations and had to bring the property back as far as restoration, renovations. And then they turned around, and in February of 2025, they listed it at $849,000, and now they're down to $599,000, and it's been on the market for 258 days, and that is a big drop. So let's see. We're going to do the math real quick, and then we're going to go and see what the house looked like prior, and then we'll circle back around. So $849,000, and we're going to minus it by $599, and they have bought this property down $250,000 since they listed it on the market, which could tell me a couple things, right? It could tell me, one, that there's still space there and they feel comfortable to drop it that low and they still have some type of breathing room where they can get out of it, or possibly even with the fees included, realtor fees, concessions possibly, or maybe this $599 might be that particular bottom line point as far as they can break even here. We're not sure. We don't know what this investor or this homeowner might have put into the property to restore, renovated, things like that. So now let's jump into when they bought in 2020 to see what it looks like, and then we'll jump back into 2025, what it looks like now. Okay, so this is what the property looked like in 2020. So I always like to do this for my clients. We can find any type of properties, the pictures of the properties beforehand, and we can kind of compare them to what it currently looks like. So if this particular person said, I put X, Y, and Z renovations into the property, if we can see the property prior, as far as any photos inside, because we won't be able to see but so much because it's whatever is left inside of our MLS, if it's in our MLS. If the property has sold, let's say 20 something years ago, 9 times out of 10, it might not be in the MLS, but if it's sold probably within the last 5 or maybe 10 years, it might be inside the MLS as far as other pictures that had been left. So let's see what this property looks like when he bought it, or she bought it in 2020 for $190. The listed price was actually $189. He bought it for $190, no closing costs. Let's see if they bought it for cash. It was cash right here. It was a cash deal. They bought it for cash. So they had no mortgage. They went inside. And so this is some of the pictures of what it looked like before as far as the property. So we see the pictures, and we're going to get through this real quick. So we're just getting an idea of what the inside looked like, the property, the siding, the roofing, things like that, the backyard, the street that it's on, different things like that. Of course, we don't know if the street has changed. We don't know what the street looks like currently. And now we are going to switch to what the house looks like in 2025. So this is what the house looks like now. As you can see, they changed the siding on the house. They look like they painted these type of shingles up there on the roof. They made everything look white. These are not the best pictures as far as making, kind of making the room look more open, the space more open. The pictures are kind of yellowish. But as you can see, they did renovations inside. Looks like they pulled up the flooring. Looked like they might have kept some of the flooring here on the stairs. So these pictures, obviously somebody took it with their cell phone. They didn't actually take it with a professional photographer. It looks like they might have painted the cabinets. Looks like this countertop is still the same from what we saw in the prior pictures. I don't know if this is definitely not quartz or granite. It might be a possible Formica, not sure. Looks like they still have the same refrigerator here from the last pictures. I could be wrong. But yeah, so as you guys can see, they did a few renovations, but I don't feel like there were enough renovations to then try to ask for dang near $900,000 on the property from 190 cash. And that again is why people are having a hard time selling their properties in this particular market. So we have jumped into the nitty gritty and we uncovered why some of these houses are not selling in the metro Atlanta market. From investors doing horrible flips and putting lipstick on the pig, to even homeowners who purchased the property just 2 to 3 years ago that have been refinancing several times, that they need to satisfy their debt because they can't bring money to the closing table. Again, if you need any type of assistance, you can reach out to me. My email and my phone number is below. And if you are currently working with a realtor, have them do these deep dives. Thank you for tuning into this video for the truth of why houses are not selling in the metro Atlanta area. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like, share, and hit that notification bell to know when videos drop on this channel. And I look forward to seeing you back. And if you're new here, or if you just want to put a comment below, please let me know your thoughts on why you think, outside of what we learned today, of why houses are having a hard time selling in the metro Atlanta area.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.